Before we get into the episode, I am thrilled to announce that the EntreMD Business School is open for enrollment. The EntreMD Business School is the only school of its kind for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. Over the last 2 years, we have had hundreds of doctors go through the school with unbelievable results. Some of them run brands, some of them run private practices, some of them are coaches, some have other kinds of service-based businesses or product-based businesses. And we've had people come in and cross the 6-figure milestone, cross the 7-figure milestone, cross the multiple 7-figure milestone. You will be in a place where you'll get the coaching, the community, the accountability that you need to thrive as an entrepreneur, especially in the times that we're in. So maybe you've been following me for a while. Maybe you've been getting so much out of the EntreMD podcast and you've been wondering, how can I work with Dr. Una and the community more? Well, this is your chance. Come join us in the EntreMD Business School. It is application only. So go to entremd.com/business to turn in your application. I cannot tell you how many doctors have made statements like this. I recovered my investment in the first week. I recovered my investment in my bank account in the first 90 days. This is the best investment I've made in myself ever. I want you to have that kind of story, not just a story of building a great business that serves a lot and earns a lot, but having a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. So don't wait any longer. entremd.com/business. And now for the episode. Hi, docs. Welcome to the EntreMD podcast, where it's all about helping amazing physicians just like you embrace entrepreneurship so you can have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on your terms. I'm your host, Dr. Una. Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the EntreMD podcast. Today, we are going to be having a come to Jesus meeting. There is a mind game that I have fallen victim to myself, and I've seen this over and over again, and I wanted to talk to you about it. It's going to save you a lot of trouble on your journey as an entrepreneur. And yes, this is about it is a shiny object syndrome of sorts, but it's not as far as new ideas for businesses, but it really is about what you do to develop yourself as an entrepreneur. Okay. So in the EntreMD Business School, we live a quarter at a time. So we live 90 days at a time. So in EBS, EntreMD Business School, we say Happy New Year 4 times a year. Okay. So we just had a Happy New EBS year. The time of this recording is just the beginning of the third quarter of the year. And so we do all these quarterly reviews and things like that. And we talk about our wins. We talk about our lessons, right? Because you either win or you learn. And there was a lesson that somebody wrote about, and I'm going to read that. And that kind of is the basis for this episode, if you will. And so the lesson she said here is, without engaging in all that the EntreMD Business School had to offer, I felt lost. Okay. And then she goes on to say, remember, so this is the lesson, remember the value of what we have here and take advantage of it. The benefits of being a part of this community are invaluable. Okay. And you may be listening to this and you're not in the EntreMD Business School. So let me paint a picture of some of what I know she's referring to. So we have weekly sessions, live sessions on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. And that usually is either me teaching or I'm doing laser coaching, or we have a guest come in. And we've had all kinds of different guests come in. So a guest expert coming to talk about their area of expertise or sharing their journey, which is usually so inspirational. Or sometimes we would have like specialty networking meetings where people are broken into like breakout rooms based on the kind of businesses they run, and they can bounce ideas off of each other. So it is this 90-minute meeting that happens once a week where it's just so much value. So much value. Okay. So that's one big one. The second big one is the Facebook community. Very active very active, where you can ask questions and get answers, and from different perspectives and different industries. You can come there, share your wins. You can come there, share your trials. You can come there and you're just having a hard time. And you're like, I'm having a hard time with this. And it's not just that people will reach out and comment right there, but people will also reach out to you offline or reach out to you privately and like, hey, I can connect, I can support you this way. I can connect you with this other person who will help you and all of those kind of things. So it's just like having this tribe of support, right? Another thing that we have there is we have smaller group meetings, right? That happen during the week. It's a smaller cohort and it's not about meeting, talking, discussing. Really, it's about coming there and doing the work of entrepreneurship that you're most likely to procrastinate on, right? So we're talking about those revenue generating activities. So maybe you're supposed to be pitching for podcasts, right? Well, we'd rather scroll on social media than do that, or put out an ad for a new team member, or reach out to referral sources, or whatever that is, but it's a high level activity that you're most likely to procrastinate on. So we come together for an hour, get work done. So it's implementation time, right? And then we have the book of the month that we read. And so we have these really high value things that would push your business forward every single month that as you engage with it. And so those are some of the things I'm sure she was referring to when she said, remember the value of what we have here and take advantage of it, right? The thing is, and even before we break this down, I read that and it reminded me of something that happened to me last year. I have a mastermind that I'm a part of, and it is a mastermind for female entrepreneurs who are doing at least 7 figures in revenue. And I remember I came up for time for renewal. And it's so funny how your mind has a lot to say when you come up for renewal, right? And so I was like, oh, well, do I want to spend the money to do this for another year and things like that? And I was actually thinking about it, right? Well, yeah, there's the meetings that we do and the meetings in person. Those are really nice and all of those kind of things. And I was thinking about it, okay? And then I had a conversation with my husband. I was thinking, I don't know if I want to renew. And he looked at me like I was a raving lunatic. Right? He looked at me. He was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, he's like, isn't that the meeting you went to? And just by being in the room, there are so many limiting beliefs you had about being able to take EntreMD to the multiple 7-figure mark. And isn't that where that happened? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, why are you thinking about whether you should renew or not? Right? And that's when this whole philosophy of the undisciplined mind is an idiot. If you let it, it would just make a mess of your life, right? Okay, so it made me understand 2 things, okay? The first is the mind is always looking for new, exciting things. So you could be in a container, or for the doctors who are in the EntreMD business school, they're in a container where you have all of this. But after you've been there for a few months, and this person who wrote this is what we call an EBS master, right? She just started her 3rd year actually in the EntreMD business school, and she's in scale right now. And after a while, it's kind of like, yeah, but it's just Wednesday, right? We meet every Wednesday. Yeah, there's a Facebook group. Yeah. And I'm not saying this is what she did. I'm speaking from my own experience now. And yeah, it's there, but it's not new and fancy and shiny and all of that. So it's very easy to forget the value. It's very easy to forget how transformative it's been. It's so easy because it's no longer new and bright and shiny, right? And then the second thing is that the default of the mind is really never to look at what is good about something, right? It's so much easier to say, oh, this didn't work, or that didn't change, or this. That's just the way the mind works. So knowing these things, I have come up with a new system that I engage in to make sure that the things that are bringing about the biggest change in my life, that it stays top of mind, that this is what is doing that, so I can engage with it, I can continue with it, and all of that. Okay, so let me give you that process real quick, okay? And if you are in the EntreMD Business School listening to this, my goodness, yeah, listen real good. Number one is look at your wins. Your mind is most likely not going to offer up like, oh, wow, look at the wins you got in your business. You started this, you started that, you broke this revenue milestone, you brought this team member on. Chances are, if you don't stop to take stock of what has happened, you will not even remember. You won't remember, right? And so sometimes I'm like, yeah, we say this in Entrepreneurial Business School all the time. Your quarterly goals, review them, review the quarter, review what happened, review the wins you had, come post it in the group. And a lot of times people are like, I didn't want to do this, but Dr. Una kept talking about it. So I did it. And they have 12 wins, 15 wins, 10 wins. They're like, sorry, I know this post is so long. But before that, the thought their mind had constantly offered them is like, are you serious? You didn't accomplish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, forget it. That last quarter was a wash. Let's try with this quarter. And just the discipline of stopping to consider the wins puts them in a position where they're like, are you kidding? I am bad all by myself. Look at what happened. So you have to understand that if you do not stop to take stock, you will never know that you're moving forward. You will never realize that it's working. And because you don't realize that, you show up with that energy in the next quarter, like, oh, nothing's working. I keep trying, I keep doing all the things and nothing is working. It's always working. Okay. So number one is look at the wins, take stock of the wins, document the wins every quarter, every week, every day. Just stop what worked, what is going right. Your mind is not going to offer that. It's not the natural bent. So you're going to discipline your mind to start thinking that way. That's number one. Number two, so wins, we're talking about revenue goals that you surpassed, new systems you put in your business, new processes you did, somebody you fired, somebody you hired, a new connection you made, a new referral source you made, you were a guest on X number of podcasts, like all of those things, right? So those are wins. The second thing is look at your personal transformation. You used to be the person somebody quit in your office, in your practice, in your business. You made it mean all these things about you. You got bent out of shape. You're like, I'm not going to hire anymore because I suck at it, right? Or you used to be the person, if you get a 1-star review, it's like, oh my goodness, I can't take it anymore. Or you were the person who could not bring yourself to set goals because you couldn't deal with the disappointment of not accomplishing them. Like, maybe that was you, but you stop and you look like, oh my goodness, I got a 1-star review and I was okay, right? You're like, I used to be so terrified of being on stage, but I went on stage and I was like, forget it. I'm just going to show up and do my best job. I'm not going to worry about it. And I handled it like a boss. Or there was some disappointment. You handled that like a boss. Or you had stopped reading. The last time you read was when you graduated from residency and you're like, in this quarter, I read 4 business books. I did, right? Because there is the part of your business moving forward, but there's a part of you as a person, you as an entrepreneur getting better. You're like, I was able to prioritize my family. I was able to sleep. I was able to eat right. I exercise. Like, you want to acknowledge how you are changing, especially in the earlier parts of your business, because your personal transformation is going to precede those massive business wins. So you have to stop so you can acknowledge that, oh my goodness, look at who I am becoming. Look at who I am becoming. Okay. So you're in a program, you want to get the best out of it. You want to be in a position where you're not so distracted by so many shiny objects and you're in a container that will change your life and you're not engaging with it. 1, you look at your wins. 2, you look at your personal transformation. 3, you look at your network. You look at the network that you now have available to you. So I was talking to a mentee of mine. She's not a physician. And she's like, I'm at this place. My business is doing multiple 6 figures. I need to be in a room where people are doing what I'm trying to do next, which is hit 7 figures, where they're doing that for fun. And I smiled knowing that I'm so grateful that we've built that room. Now, she can't be in that room, right? She's not a physician, but I'm like, we've built that room where you can be so inspired. We call it the EBS Commonwealth, right? Because we have our individual wealth. And when I say wealth, I don't mean money. I mean everything. I mean money. I mean connections. I mean resources. I mean expertise, all of this, right? And so to think that you're in a space where, and if I could use the Entrepreneurial Business School as an example, you are in a space where there are doctors who are startup six figures, multiple six figures, seven figures, multiple seven figures. You are in places where people are in their early 30s, late 20s, all the way to mid 60s. You are in a space where there are people who are coaches, speakers, event hosts, consultants, have product-based businesses, have private practices. Some are fee for service, some are direct specialty care, all of that. You are in a space where people go to the White House for you. People have been interviewed on NPR. People have been on ABC News. People have been on have done TED Talks. You have all of this. So you have all these kinds of experiences and expertise and connections and all of that. Look at the room you have access to and go like, whoa. Why am I saying that? Because if you do this, then it puts you in a position. If you do these three things, every time you do these three things, what it does is that it gets rid of the shiny object syndrome because it makes you see where you are in a new light. Like the place where you are becomes the shiny object, right? Because you're like, wait, what? I need to take full advantage of this. I need to take full advantage of this right now. Okay? Every single time you do that, your mind gets the fix that it needs. Okay? So for this doctor, who we're looking at her perspective, she said, I'm back. EBS, I'm back, right? It's a new thing. It's like, yes, this is so valuable. I need to be here. I need to take full advantage and all of those things. And of course, I'm extrapolating, right? Because I didn't have a conversation with her. I'm just going based off of what she typed. And for me, in the organization that I was a part of, I was like, oh my goodness, look at the network I have access to. Look at all of this. I'm back. I'm going to take full advantage of it, right? And I say that to you so that you don't fall prey, because everything shiny is going to become old, right? You cannot live your entrepreneurial journey going from shiny to shiny. You need to learn to take full advantage of what you have that is right in front of you. So she has shared her experience. I have shared my experience, and we're sharing it with you so that this way we can say we've taken one for the team. You don't have to fall victim to this. Okay. You don't have to fall victim to this at all. So what do I want you to do? I want you to do these three things. Stop, take a look at your wins, take a look at your personal transformation, take a look at the network that you have access to, and then recommit. Recommit. I'm going to get everything I can out of this community. Okay. Go all in and watch and see what happens. All right. So for this doc, I'm so excited for her because even though she felt lost, she crushed, right? You hear the emphasis? She crushed Q2, crushed it. And I cannot wait to see what happens with the next 90 days now that she's like, I'm back. Okay. And I want the same thing for you. Okay. So you're in the EntreMD Business School. Oh my goodness. I want the same thing for you. I want to be blown away in tears reading about your wins. I want that for you. Right. And if you're not in the EntreMD Business School, you're in another container, do the same thing. Take everything you can get out of it. If you've been thinking about the EntreMD Business School and you're not in a container, the EntreMD Business School is waiting for you. Now, I am very clear. I used to have a Messiah complex. So I was like, the EntreMD Business School is for everybody. And the truth of the matter is not. If you're not committed to your goals, you will hate the EntreMD Business School because there's a lot of accountability. There's a lot of people doing great things. Like you absolutely hate it. If you just want to dabble, you'll hate it. And I don't want you to hate it, right? So I'll tell you, don't worry about it, right? Like I'm here for you. We can talk on the podcast every week and stuff like that. And like in the EntreMD Facebook group, all of those things, right? But if you're here and you're like, I got one life, we're burning daylight here, I want to experience quantum leaps, I want to be in an environment of physician entrepreneurs who are rock stars, who are unicorns, who are champions, who are getting stuff done, I want to get roadmaps, I want to get this done, then the EntreMD Business School is for you. Okay. And so if you know that's you, I'm going to have you schedule an appointment. One of our business strategists would get on a call with you. We can kind of work this out. It's entremd.com/call, and let's get this party going. I would love to celebrate your Q3 wins. Maybe I'll be talking about you on the podcast, like the difference 90 days can make, or maybe I'll be interviewing you. Who knows? Okay. All right. So regardless, go do this. Do not let the undisciplined version of your mind run your life or run your business. You take charge, and you take charge by looking at your wins, looking at your personal transformation, looking at the network that you have access to, and then reevaluating everything from that standpoint. All right. Okay. So I'm sure you got a lot of value out of this. Go do your homework, share this episode with another doctor in your life, and I'll see you on the next episode of the EntreMD podcast. Hey, if you love listening to the EntreMD podcast, I want to invite you to join EntreMD On Demand. It is my signature subscription program that gives you access to a library of business courses designed to help you do one thing as a physician entrepreneur, and that is to thrive. Just head out to entremd.com/on demand, and I'd love to have you join us. See you on the inside.